Hello again, everybody. This is Red, and I'm going back 50 years or so to the days when I was laying on the rug on the floor, reading the sporting news, looking at some baseball cards, and I was reading this old sporting news and came across something I thought was worth posting and showing some cool stuff about Vida Blue. So I'll turn the camera around and see this article. It says spring training 1972. There's the date, the sporting news, and reading about Vida Blue, how he is coming off this monster season, and I'll show some cards along the way here too. So there's his first 1970 card he shares with Gene Tennis. Two guys, both over 45 WAR. It's a pretty cool rookie card with two really good players. And then that 71 card. That's already his MVP season, Cy Young season. He had 17 wins at the All-Star break in 71, ends up winning 24, over 300 strikeouts, 300 innings pitched. And he talked about that card. He said there, he's kind of a mix of giving the peace sign and showing his fastball grip. He was in the Army Reserve during Vietnam. He didn't fight in Vietnam, but he did end up spending some time there with Bob Hope doing some stuff. Oh man, we got a little break in the action. FedEx is here. So I'm going to shut this off for a little bit. I'm going to have to go sign for a cool package I'm expecting, and then we'll continue on with this video. So this came, well, we'll have to wait. I'll show we get in here later, but it's, I think it's going to be something really cool. So, yes, remember back to where we were before I got the FedEx package. I think in this 71 season, so you can look at his 72 card and see what he did in 71. 312 innings, 301 strikeouts, a 1.82 ERA, and 24 wins, 17 of them at the All-Star break. And just an incredible year for a guy who was started the year 21, turned 22 in the middle of the season. I think that's just phenomenal. And that's where this article kind of picks up. It's after that season, going into the 73 season, and he's negotiating a contract with Charlie Finley, they're talking about in here. And he only made $14,000 that 71 season, his first full season. And so he's looking to get, it talks about here, 70 to 90,000 is what he's trying to get a raise to. And he ended up having to hold out, and he got 63,000 is what he ended up getting. But Charlie Finley talks about him wasting his money because he hired an agent, something that Finley had never had to deal with before from a baseball player, was negotiating with an agent. He said it's a high-paid notary. He's going to end up getting 10 to 15% of his money. But obviously, I don't think that was a poor decision on Vida Blue's part to hire an agent, and obviously nobody goes and negotiates, I don't think, without one anymore. But you can see that here's the 73 card, and he talked about he got asked, who is he facing on that card, and he came up with, that's Davey Nelson, because he's a guy who choked up, played for the Rangers. There you can see Davey Nelson's card, and I think he probably is a Ranger, now looking at the waist stripes, the red at the top, then white, then blue. First I was trying to think what Minnesota Twin that was, but that is probably Davey Nelson of the Rangers. Then you got his 74, 75, 76 cards, and so 73 card shows that he only threw 150 some innings in 72, 111 strikeouts, still good ERA. And then after that, I mean, he won 20 games again in 73 and 75. Which shows up as being an all-star in the 76, so an all-star starter. There's 77, 78, 79 cards. So these are his cards from the 70s. And now you can see he's traded to the San Francisco Giants. But that was after, in 76, I think it was, so 76, 77, 78, he had a contract that he signed 3 years for over $500,000, which was big money at the time. Of note, he was a little more of a finesse pitcher. He still had some heat, but not like he did that age 21 season when he struck out over 300, because he never again struck out over 200 batters, but still pitched with guile and enough speed that he was very effective. Won over 200 career games. He was on the Hall of Fame ballot for like 4 or 5 seasons, then got knocked off because he didn't get high enough percent of the vote. And speaking of Hall of Fame, the article right next to him talks about who just got into the Hall of Fame that year, and it was Ross Youngs, who is a little questionable. He's one of the Frank Frisch happy guys, an old teammate of Frank Frisch. And he only played 10 years, and a couple of those were partial seasons. But I guess you can't hold it against him because he died of chronic kidney disease. They called it Bright's disease at the time. And he was only 30 years old when he died, which is, I think, the youngest person who ever died who's in the Hall of Fame. Addie Joss, I think, had just turned 31. Might be a close second. There might be somebody younger. I just don't know who it might be. But Young's had a good career, and I got showed it once, I think before, but the card I've got of Ross Youngs is labeled as a 1922 American Caramel, but it's really not. It's got a little more light, kind of whitish than the more sepia-toned American Caramels, which this actually is, this Red Faber. And then the backs on the actual American Caramel tells that it's an American Caramel and has the White Sox checklist on it compared to this card that's got a blank back. So what this is, looking in, and I learned this from John and Rick on their show, that this is actually a W573 from 1922. It's kind of funny. It's the same pose almost, but different players. Ross Young's there. So these cards, and it describes it as being either blank back, or some of them do have advertising on the back and a little bit more of a lighter, kind of whiter black and white color. So that's actually how it should have been labeled, is W573. I mean, I'm the one who sent this in a few years ago, and I labeled it as an American Caramel, and they just, I guess, either copied that or thought it really was that, and that's how they labeled it, but it isn't. So before we go, I'm going to show a clip of good old Vida Blue, one of my favorite pitchers growing up in that 1971 season. Oh, before we get to the clip, this is a reason I liked Vida Blue so much. I mean, besides he's just a really good pitcher, the A's, but as soon as he got to the Giants, I had sent him a letter and got this back. Sent me a autographed picture, best wishes, Vida Blue. Pretty cool. Okay, now to the clip. Before we go, I thought let's show a little bit of Vida Blue highlights. This is from the 1971 All-Star Game.
Vida Blue, the sensation 21-year-old left-handed pitcher. Vida, as Kurt mentioned, will be facing a power-laden National League lineup led off by the great Willie Mays. Here's Vida Blue.
Well, first of all, Tony, it's a great honor to be here, and I'm happy about being the starting pitcher for the American League All-Stars. And, well, to face Willie Mays and some of the other powerful stars they have in the lineup is quite an honor, and I guarantee you they'll have all the respect in the world for me out there.
The first 6 batters he faced are now Hall of Famers.
Kurt, we saw the trademark of Vida Blue running out to the mound. He's running out to meet the #1 hitter in this National League All-Star lineup, Willie Mays. Let's hear what Vida Blue has to say about pitching to Willie Mays, the first hitter in this All-Star game.
Well, first of all, Tony, let me say it's a pleasure for me to just be here. But I think Vida will probably throw me the fastball. I've seen him pitch a couple of times, and I think his best pitch right now would be his fastball. So I think he will start, off the game with a fastball, trying to get ahead of me. But of course, you never know about what's going on. But as far as myself, I think I'll be swinging.
All right, it's Oakland against San Francisco, the old rivalry. The first pitch of the strike by Vida Blue. I don't think any pitcher's ever come into this All-Star game with more pressure. This game doesn't count in the standings. But Vida Blue just been hounded since he's been here by the press, the radio, the television, the public. Ground ball to shortstop. Aparicio up, and Willie Mays is out. 1 down. Henry Aaron will be the next batter. 2 of the top 3 home run hitters of all time. Mays and Aaron are hitting #1 and 2 in the National League lineup, which is an oddity. Of course, Babe Ruth, the top home run man. This is the 20th All-Star game for Hank Aaron. The first time he has ever seen Tiger Stadium or played in Detroit. The same for Willie Mays. which I say is a strong endorsement. He won the Gillette Trophy for the second year in a row as receiving the most votes from the public of any All-Star player. Henry Aaron winning the Gillette Trophy. But that Mays and Aaron haven't played here, I think, is a strong endorsement for interleague play. The Tiger fans are really anxious to see them here. A strike of the knees by Vida Blue. How do you describe Vida Blue? I think one way you can describe him, a long, loose arm. A great athlete, tremendous football player in high school, marvelous rhythm, big bounding ball to Brooks Robinson. And his throws there, and they're 2 down. Joe Torre will be the next man up. He leads the National League in batting with a .359 average, 14 homers, 65 RBIs. The batters that we talked to that face Vida Blue say he doesn't look as fast from the stands as he does in the batter's box. That about a yard or two in front of the plate, suddenly the ball shoots at you. It takes off. It jumps. And it can sail. It can swerve. His fastball is alive. That's his pitch. There it is. He leads the majors in strikeouts. We've had Dean and Grove and Koufax and Feller and Drysdale, great pitchers, come in here. Gomez, never with 17 wins at the All-Star break. 2 strikes. Blue 17 wins, the most that the pitchers had at the All-Star break. The previous high was Bobby Feller, 16 in 1941, and Denny McLean won 16 games coming into the All-Star game of 68. The National League high was Drysdale's 15 wins. Koufax, Marichal, and Necro. 2 down, nobody on. 2 strikes to Joe Torre. Playing Torre straight away. A high fly to shallow center. Looks like an easy 1-2-3 inning for Vida Blue. Mercer lost his cap. Look out. Carew goes back. And that's it. The National League is easily retired.
So all 3 plays made by Brooks Robinson, Lou Aparicio, and Rod Carew, Hall of Famers as well.
American League now
in
will
that
come to
first
bat
inning.
with no score.
Fun to watch.
And here's the power king of the majors this year, Willie Stargell. He has 30 home runs. He hit 31 all last season.
All right, we'll stop
He's
it
knocked
here.
in
But
87 runs.
he faces
Leads the majors in both
Stargell,
departments, and he's batting .320.
bench, and
Everything in his favor tonight. A short right field.
thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you hopefully again soon.